What's going on, Elevation Nation? It is May 29th, 2025, and summer is in full swing. Pretty crazy. In the spirit of summer in full swing, Sam, I have a new friend in the background. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I got a plant. I'm going to nurture the plant. It's in the
What kind of plant?
It's actually called a money tree.
Did you name it?
I did not name it yet, but that's what they told me it was called.
How about Murphy the money tree?
Murphy? That's a good name. I like that.
Murphy? All right, we'll see if JJ likes it. Murphy the money tree.
Murphy the money tree. I love it. But today, Sam, we're going to get a little bit more serious as there's been some events that have occurred in the world and have hit home, and I feel like we need to talk about it. So today we're going to be talking about how we're feeling, but also just unpacking what happened last week in Washington, D.C., a place that you call home, a place that I formerly called home, and many of our friends and family feel very connected to. But two Israeli staffers, one Jewish American and one Christian Israeli, were murdered outside of an Israel event. And at first it was like, holy shit, that's crazy. And I think right now more than ever, Sam, honestly, I'm lost for words in how to describe my feeling about it. But it's almost like, it's another day, which is unfortunate as a Jewish person in the world. How you feeling?
Yeah, it was hard to wake up to. Last week, waking up and hopping on the news and seeing what transpired, I can literally see the block that it's on from my apartment window. And realizing that there's still so much hatred in the world and so much extremism in the world. And I will be the first to admit that the Israel-Palestinian and Hamas conflict is a complex one with a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of politics, and unfortunately a lot of death and trauma for many, many people. And I, obviously as a Jew, have certain feelings about Israel, but I think overall as a Jew I have feelings about tikkun olam is a phrase. And Hebrew, it means, to make the world a better place, repair the world. And that goes for all types of humans, not just Jews or Israelis. And so I think that's one thing I want to say, that obviously there's been a lot of death and conflict going on in the Middle East on both sides of that war, and it is horrible for all people involved, right? I also want to say we as small people are not going to solve those problems. That's an unfortunate reality too. And to think that taking to the streets and killing people and using violence here in the United States of America will help solve a problem so complex halfway across the world is very frustrating to me. But I unfortunately think that's kind of where our society is headed. We think that if people don't believe what we think or on the opposite side of something, we want to stand up for it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of extremists out there that think they're justified in their ways. My last point I'll say is I'm Jewish, proudly Jewish. If you have a problem with me being Jewish, you want to talk about it, come talk about it. You want to fight about it, we can box on it. You don't have to kill people over violence. Get your anger out in other healthier ways. I think people need to stop thinking that killing other people that disagree with them is the right way to solve conflict. I did buy a baseball bat to protect myself too, which is a sad reality.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You bought a baseball bat. You feel as if you need to protect yourself in new ways. And I'm not saying that I know you didn't go join a boxing gym because you were scared that you needed to get in fights. But let's talk about being an American Jew in today, 2025, because it's frightening. I mean, I feel like growing up, in my community, Baltimore, obviously surrounded by a lot of Jews, but, went to school with not so many Jews. And I was in the big minority, and I often had to educate or sometimes hide the fact that I was Jewish because it made me uncomfortable, or other people made me uncomfortable for those types of things. And I think all Jews have experienced some level of that, whether it's true anti-Semitism, where it's complete like isolation from someone because you're Jewish, or just like the simple jokes right here and there. But today in 2025, it's like, as a Jew, it is scary because those two people who were murdered in D.C., it could have been any of us. It could have been some of our friends who work in the Jewish community. It could have been anyone, and that really is painful to think about. And obviously, like, our hearts go out to those families and all of that. It's just, as someone who goes to synagogue, as someone who participates in Jewish rituals, like going to Jewish weddings or bar mitzvahs, celebrating the holidays, wearing a chai on my chest, and going to the gym and simply, changing at the gym, right? Or have a mezuzah at the front of our door to welcome and bless the home. And, that's in a public place, the mezuzah. It's frightening to think that those things could bring hate to us by us displaying who we are as people, and not by choice as people. We were born this way. Our family of generations are Jewish and have those roots. And we don't have that choice. But yet, as Jewish people, we are resilient, and we show courage, and we push through among all the challenges that we face. We talk about, they talk about with our grandparents, what they went through and that their parents went through. And some of, I know your family, my family, we had to escape the hate that happened in Europe in the early 1900s before they were brought to the final solution. But yet it comes to America, and we're here as 2025 Jews, and the fear is there. But I think as us, Sam, we need to continue to be resilient and show who we are, because the world, the ones who don't appreciate Jews, are the ones who want us to hide it and not show it and not speak about it. And it's a dilemma. In a sense, it's like, wow, I'm going to be openly me, but, maybe someone might punch me in the face for it, or maybe worse. That's the reality we face today.
Yeah, it's a weird era to grow up in. I also think it's been difficult as an American Jew to differentiate between, do people hate me because of my thoughts on Israel? Do people hate me because I'm Jewish? Do they hate me because of both? Why do people hate me?
I don't know if people... I don't know if people hate you at all. Hopefully no one hates you, Sam, because you're Jewish, or because you're Sam, or you're from Chicago, right? That's the case. But there are people who hate Jews. And I think in America, unfortunately, it's unfair. It's hard to even describe or put words to it. And we live in major cities, dude. I mean, New York City is the most populated Jewish place in the world outside of Israel. But yet, there's still violence and fear. How have I know you have a lot of friends who are Jewish and non-Jewish. Do you have conversations with your friends, the ones who maybe not know how you're feeling or what the Jewish community is going through, whether at work or just in your personal life?
Yeah, I don't really talk about it at work with people. It's not something that I bring up often at work. But I've had a lot of friends, both Jewish and non-Jewish, reach out to me after those murders took place. And it was nice to know that obviously I had support, right? I don't want to be fearful walking around in my own city being myself. So it's nice to know that at least people are paying attention to the news and care. And I don't know. I'm obviously proud of my heritage and where I come from. Parker, to your earlier point, I don't know where you were going exactly with this, but people put us in a box of if you're Jewish in America, you're pro-Israel. I think being pro-Israel is also an extremely complex question to answer now. That's a full country. like with its own political parties and differing beliefs and actions that they've taken and not taken, right? Like, you can't just be pro one blanket statement, I think, all the time with anything.
You see the association.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's why I'm sitting here with my friend, my best friend, who I trust implicitly, and I still can't fully articulate my exact positioning on every single situation when it comes to a country and my own religion. So for someone to then put a blanket statement on me, assuming that they know exactly how I think and feel, is, I think, extremely unfair. I think overall, what I know for certain is I don't want anyone to die. Death is not the solution. That is not the answer. Having conversations is the solution, and trying to find middle ground to compromise is a better alternative. That's what I know. I'm not well versed in all of the complexities within the Middle East. What I do know is that 2 people were murdered 3 blocks away from me for absolutely no reason, and that many people justified their murders.
For supporting Israel and being Jewish. That is why they were murdered. Like, simply, that was the reason. It wasn't a random act of violence,
You're right.
Sam.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right. I meant, like, not for a justifiable reason. But yes, I hear you. I hear you. I meant not for, like, an actual reason that was, like, fair. Like, they weren't. Yes. And so that's the reality that we face here in America. And I'm hoping that by Parker and I having our conversations about both being Jewish, but also just conversations about young adulthood, that this is, as we know, a global podcast. We have listeners all around the world. And hopefully you can say, maybe you've never met a Jew before, but you listen to Parker and I go, wait, those guys that were going through those same problems and issues that I face as a young adult, those are 2 Jewish guys? No way. We're normal people like everybody else. We have our own religions and practices, but we're pretty damn normal. Parker's a nerd. He likes to read. I'm also a nerd. I like to cook. We have hobbies. We're good at things. We're bad at things. We're normal people trying to live our best lives. And so I'm very proud, Parker, that we get to use this platform to just showcase that we are normal people that want to have conversations, have a lot of empathy and love in our hearts. And hopefully people can see that and we can start to get to more conversations over conflict.
I couldn't agree more. And, the conversation, wherever we take these Fortitude and 15, is all about mindset and perspective, and knowing that our identity lies in being Jewish, and we need to use that mental fortitude to not belittle that identity, but to bring it out. Even though today as Jews we might feel more insecure than ever, we need to push and be resilient, because we have no other choice. But I am glad we had this challenging, hard, vulnerable conversation, as we always do. It's a principle of Elevation Nation and what we do. Hard conversations and vulnerable conversations are how we get progress and how we elevate. And so, Elevation Nation, we don't have a spotlight for you from the nation.
All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week, peace.